Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failer. We are continuing our alphabetical look at all of the vehicles in the game. We left off with the Borg 9, and we start this video with the bus, but I'm actually not showing you a bus right now. I'm showing you a Security car. I'll explain. But first, I want to say that even though we're going alphabetically, we're actually just going to do the vehicles with wheels first, all alphabetically, and then we'll do all the boats after we've done all the vehicles with wheels. So there are some vehicles that don't have any fixed spawn locations, and so at the beginning of this video, you're going to see me go through several of those, four of them, in the beginning here on Portland and then Staunton. So the four that you're seeing right now, you saw the Secure car, this is the Trash Master, you'll also see the bus, which is the next vehicle we're doing alphabetically, and the flatbed. And so I'm going to show you here in this clip me finding each of those four vehicles in the wild on Portland, and then again me finding each of those vehicles in the wild on Staunton. And I spent a good 10 minutes looking for each of these four vehicles in the wild on Shoreside, and I didn't find any of them in 10 minutes of looking. So I conclude, without proof, that none of these four vehicles spawn over on Shoreside, which I didn't know. Then you're going to see me find a stretch. Now, I don't think that the stretch spawns in Portland. It doesn't have any fixed spawns anywhere, but you'll see me find a stretch in the wild in Staunton and also on Shoreside. And then a sixth vehicle that I want to talk about, but you won't see here in this video, is the Mr. Whoopi. And so Mr. Whoopi we're going to tackle later in this video series when we get to the M's, but I did look around all three islands for a Mr. Whoopi for the entire video recording series. The whole time I was recording footage for like all of these vehicle videos, I looked for Mr. Whoopies. Didn't see a single one in the wild. Surely they spawn. I'm pretty sure they spawn on all three islands. But anyway, I didn't find any of them. And so I'm going to just take a Mr. Whoopi from the Import-Export garage when we get to the M's. So let's talk about the bus. So the bus is not pay and sprayable, and it is not crushable. In fact, I'll show you that it isn't crushable. But when you bring the bus to the pay and spray says, the standard. I won't handle anything that's that hot. And I will read from the wiki about the bus. In the first Grand Theft Auto, that is like GTA 1, just Grand Theft Auto, the bus is based on a 1979 to 1989 International Harvester S series, which just looks like the standard school bus here in the US. The bus may appear with three different schemes. In Liberty City, it spawns in a traditional school bus scheme. In San Andreas, it spawns in a green-red color with the Jesus letters written out and a Holy Cross emblem. And in Vice City, it spawns in a brighter yellow color with the shield emblem on top. It's either for high school students or some kind of sports team. Then in GTA 2, the bus resembles an old-look style transit bus, more of like what GTA 3 calls the coach. And in GTA 3 and Vice City and Liberty City Stories, the bus returns to the school bus design featured in the first GTA game, featuring a very generic design and taking styling from a wide range of decades. The hood's shape resembles a 1980s International Harvester S series. Its slanted side windows may be inspired by the old GM New Look bus or the flexible New Look bus. The rear is rounded similar to most 40s and 50s school bus designs. All right. Continuing from the wiki as I show you some stretches in the wild. Let's see here. The performance, I don't know, terrible. Oh, this is me showing you that the Crusher won't take it. So I'm not going to show you this message for the other vehicles the Crusher won't take. Generally, the Crusher won't take things that are too heavy, but there it is. There's the message you get. And now I will grab a bus from the Import-Export garage and drive it all the way over to our favorite unique jump across from the airport. Okay, the bus's handling is slow and cumbersome. Yeah, no joke. The vehicle, although fairly tough, cannot readily knock other vehicles aside in the manner of the fire truck, the barracks OL, or the flatbed. Most renditions of the bus emit the sound of a low-revving four-stroke diesel engine. It's also vulnerable to bullet damage, more vulnerable to bullet damage than most vehicles of its size. It can carry a maximum of 7 passengers plus the driver. Here in GTA 3, similar to the coach. So I guess the only way you could get 7 folks in here is if you are doing that mission, the fuzzball. For Luigi, where you drive around and pick up all the prostitutes. So I guess you could use the bus. We ended up using the coach. Okay, moving on prominent appearances and missions. So the bus is obviously required for the import-export garage. And then taking a look at trivia for the bus. Let's see, the bus has some fixed radio stations in some of the other GTA games, and I don't see any GTA 3 specific information here on the bus. So, what else is there to say about the bus? I don't know. I mean, I think I rated all of the import-export vehicles when I dropped them each off, which is why I haven't included ratings for them in this series. In fact, I was surprised as I was recording the footage for this series of vehicle videos that I was surprised at what a large percentage of the vehicles in the game are required at one of the 3 import-export garages, like the 2 garages and the crane. All right, so here you go. Check this out. So not counting the boats, there are 51 vehicles you can drive in this game. That counts the dodo, which we'll actually see in this particular video here. So 51 vehicles that are drivable with wheels. A whopping 39 of those 51 vehicles are required at one of the import-export garages. I'll say again, 39. So the 2 garages, the one in Portland and the one in Shoreside, both require 16 vehicles to be dropped off, and then the crane requires 7 emergency vehicles to be dropped off. So you add them all up, you get 39 out of 51 vehicles with wheels is required in one of the 3 import-export garages. That's 76% of all of the wheel vehicles in this game required. Had no idea it was that large of a percentage. Okay, unsurprisingly, the bus did not fare well in our super scientific competition here. It gets a credit of 0 for the jumps. Okay, next up is the cabbie. Only has 1 spawn. I thought it had more. I mean, it's like obviously very common in the wild, but this is the only fixed spawn. It's over here by the Bitch and Dog Food Factory. Obviously, it can be pay and sprayed, it can be crushed, and let's read from the wiki. The cabbie is a 4-door taxi cab featured in both 3D Universe and HD Universe. The design is based on a checkered taxi, namely the 1970s and 1980s models, considering the game's timelines, albeit with single headlights reminiscent of the 1956 Marathon. It is generally depicted as the older counterpart of the taxi. So remember, the taxi is the other yellow passenger vehicle in this game, but it's kind of less rounded than the cabbie is. And the cabbie remained the same across all the GTA games, with fewer changes on the details and always carrying a traditional taxi sign on the roof. In GTA 3, the renditions have slanted headlight housing similar to the checker taxi, narrow headlights, and square amber indicators on the front and rear quarters, as well as bulky bumpers, numerous separations on the grille, and a large exhaust on the rear that is integrated within the rear bumper. It is seen in a bright yellow primary color for the body and a gray secondary color for the bumpers, handles, and details, and is decorated with checkered stripes on the sides. And again, you can pay and spray this vehicle, but none of the colors or design will change when you take it to the pay and spray. Okay, the performance. The cabbie is generally slower and heavier than the taxi. Its handling is also inferior. The vehicle is somewhat unstable under heavy cornering, and its wobbly suspension can make it prone to rolling over and losing control, especially when driving at high speeds or going over hills. Yeah, so when I do the taxi driver side mission, I always do it in a taxi, even if the cabbie is the first vehicle that shows up for me in the wild. Just because I find the taxi to be a lot faster and a lot easier to control and less likely to roll. Some players, however, favor its rear-wheel drive, which is more capable of power sliding in corners. Also, if the player knows how to control the cabbie, its large V8 engine can be potent in a fast getaway. All right, does the cabbie land its first jump? Maybe, maybe, maybe. Yes. Good job, cabbie. The cabbie is also more capable of off-roading than the modern taxi. Lastly, the cabbie is more durable and should last longer. It uses a petrol engine and a 4-speed gearbox that powers the rear wheels. It produces a rather noisy sound, likely due to its being an old vehicle. That's an interesting detail. So it's got the Borgnine variant. There's jump number 2. Nice job. We're getting a little bit smoky here, but it's surviving. And then in Vice City, there's the Kaufman cab and also the Zebra cab. Okay, let's see. There's the taxi side mission, obviously, where you got to drop off 100 passengers. And then the cabbie is one of the vehicles required for the shoreside import-export garage. And then looking at the trivia, again, the cabbie has some standard radio stations in some of the other games. In real life, checker marathons were withdrawn from service in New York City in 1999 after a law established that taxis could not be more than 5 years old. Okay, attempt number 3. This would put the cabbie near the lead. It would be tied with the banshee at 3. And in the water, no. Safe. The cabbie doing work. Okay, so tied for second place. The BF injection is in the lead right now by itself, landing 4 jumps. So here's the cabbie trying to become co-leader. Also, after completing the taxi driver side mission in Vice City and San Andreas and Vice City Stories, hydraulics are unlocked. All right, rolling, rolling. Is it on its wheels? Not yet. And no. Too bad, too bad. The cabbie had 3, almost 4. That was a good effort. Again, hydraulics unlocked in those games for the cabbie and the taxi, which disables the vehicle's horns. Okay, next up, Cartel Cruiser. There are 4 of them. There are 4 fixed spawns, kind of. The 4 fixed spawns are here from the beginning of the game until Asuka and the Yakuza take over the construction site. I forget which mission that happens in, but anyway, at that point, it becomes Yakuza stingers down here instead of the 4 cartel cruisers. The cruiser can be pay and sprayed, it can be crushed. And now let's take a look at the wiki. The Cartel Cruiser is the gang vehicle of the Colombian cartel featured in GTA 3 and Liberty City Stories. And then looking at the design. Here, I'm going to show you that you can get into Catalina's mansion without a Cartel Cruiser. If you had a Cartel Cruiser, the gate would just open up for you, but I wanted to show you you could hop in because it'd be kind of silly to say, oh, I'm looking for a Cartel Cruiser, let me get the one in Catalina's mansion, if you couldn't get in there unless you already had a Cartel Cruiser to open the gate. From the wiki, the Cartel Cruiser resembles a 1979 to 1991 Chevy Suburban, but is designed as a 4-door pickup truck, making it similar to a late 1980s Ford F-150. The cruiser also features a roll bar in the back, side runners, a blue paint job, and fog lights on the grille. Yeah, again, so when you bring it to the paint spray, the color does not change. In GTA 3, the reverse lights are mounted in the rear bumper. However, in Liberty City Stories, they are integrated into the tail light clusters. Rear fog lights take the place of the reverse lights in the bumper instead in Liberty City Stories. It does not have a civilian variant like the stallion, like the Diablo stallion has just a civilian stallion. Its closest civilian counterpart in this game, however, is the Bobcat. It is one of the only 2 4-door pickup trucks in the 3D universe. At some point, the Cartel Cruiser was known as the Columbia. That was during the development of GTA 3. How do we do on the jump? Let's see. I have bad memories of the Colombians in this game, and so I will not be disappointed if the Cartel Cruiser does not fare well. And 0, nothing. Okay, let's take a look at the next vehicle. So long, Cartel Cruiser. Okay, next up alphabetically is the cheetah. It has exactly 1 fixed spawn. It is pay and sprayable, it is crushable, and its only fixed spawn is here in one of these mansions in Shoreside Vale. Okay, so here's an advertisement for the cheetah. Forget the last 50 years of technological advancement and hark back to the golden age of driving before seatbelts, DUI laws, anti-lock brakes, and emasculating GPS systems with nagging female voices. A prototype sports car manufactured by Grotti in the early 1970s, this marvel of Italian engineering will overcompensate for just about anything, just like the Italians. Oh my goodness, this offended like half the population, the females, as well as the entire country of Italy. Holy cow. Okay, in all its iterations, this vehicle closely resembles a 1984 to 1996 Ferrari Testarossa, with each game's version following the design of the corresponding era. In GTA 3, it looks like a slightly genericized and modernized Ferrari Testarossa F512M. Looking at the shape of the car, it appears to be a rear/mid-rear engined vehicle. However, when the hood is removed in GTA 3, the engine appears to be at the front, possibly due to programming limitations. This is in stark contrast to the design of the Testarossa in general, which has the engine placed behind the passenger compartment, just in front of the rear axle. Okay, that's good to know. And does it do well? Oh, I didn't think it was going to roll, but all right, so far so good. That's one successful landing. The cheetah's acceleration is slightly inferior to other sports cars in the 3D universe, but handling speed and braking are far superior to all others. Due to its low suspension, it hugs the road and is not prone to rolling over or spinning out of control when cornering at high speeds. However, in GTA 3, the cheetah has stiffer suspensions than those of the Banshee, Stinger, and Infernus, making it incapable of handling bumps and curves without compromising stability. For most of the 3D universe, it was the fastest car, but its top speed is slightly lower in San Andreas. It's powered by a V8 engine in all of its appearances. And more importantly, it has two successful landings here in our super scientific study. Okay, in Vice City, there is a variant of the cheetah called the VCPD, the Vice City Police Department cheetah. And in GTA 3, there is a unique cherry red cheetah from the mission Grand Theft Auto. Okay, and then there is a cheetah appearing in the mission Chaperone. It's parked outside of the place where Maria shook her butt at that party. In Last Request, Salvatore asked Claude to pick up a cheetah, but the cheetah in that mission has a bomb inside of it, so that's no good. Okay, I'm going to call this a successful third landing, even though it's on fire, because I was able to drive it away briefly. Okay, and then finally, the cheetah is one of the vehicles required at the shoreside import-export garage. Okay, next up is the coach, which has exactly two fixed spawn locations right next to each other here at the bus depot. It cannot be pay and sprayed, but it can be crushed, surprisingly. I thought it might be too heavy for the crusher. But the pay and spray says the same message, I won't take anything that hot. Okay, the coach is I don't know if I called it the bus, but the coach is a transport vehicle that first appeared in the 2D universe and the 3D universe. The coach assumes a modernized and rounded design appearing to be based on an MCI E4500, although it uses single rectangular units opposed to the dual circular units of the E4500, and the doors have been moved from the front overhang area to the wheelbase middle area. I hope you got all those details. The front has a large bumper, narrow headlights, and a curved windshield, while the sides have rounded wheeled arches, long rear view mirrors, four side compartments, and large access doors on each side, as opposed to most vehicles of its type, which have one door on the right-hand side. One thing that was interesting, go back and check it out in this video, but when Claude gets into the coach, he gets in and then walks towards the back of the bus as if he was a passenger, but he is clearly driving the bus because the player of the game is controlling the bus. So interesting when Claude gets in or when it comes out. If you have a good view of it, you can clearly see he is coming from the passenger section of the bus and not the driver's seat side of the bus. Okay, and let's see here, prominent appearances. Let's see, so this one is the bus, so the coach is required at the Portland import-export garage, and then some trivia. Let's see here. I don't see anything in the trivia section related to the coach for GTA 3 specifically. Oh, actually a little bit. Let's see. All coaches in the 3D universe, with the exception of San Andreas, do not feature a license plate. Well, that sounds illegal. And then in the 3D universe, this is what I just said. The protagonist can, from certain angles, be seen walking to the passenger section instead of the driver's seat of the coach upon entrance, presumably due to the presence of only one animation for entrance to the vehicle. I see, that's interesting. In GTA 3, if the player robs a coach with a driver and goes fast, the driver won't get out and will sit on the steps for some reason. This can also be noted when the vehicle is blown up. Interesting. This is real trouble now because the police officer is here beside me. I was trying to do a drive-by, not realizing I didn't have any drive-by ammo in this save file. Opens the door. Oh, we just barely had enough acceleration to get away. Plus, he's going to notice that we don't have a license plate, so I don't see avoiding arrest for this infraction. Scary times to be GTA failer. Okay, so how is the bus going to do on our, how is the coach going to do on our unique jump here? Well, you expect it won't do well at all because it's massive and hard to control and all kinds of bad. Let's see how it does on jump number 1. And rolling, rolling. Hey, the bus surprised me. I didn't think it would score any. Okay, the coach is again one of the heaviest vehicles in the game, and its size makes it having a very wide turning radius. It is reasonably fast for its size and has decent brakes. It is also highly durable. Yeah, it's pretty fun to ram other cars off the road in the coach. The coach is able to hold a large number of passengers, 7 in San Andreas. So maybe I said it was 7 for the bus and 7 for the coach, but now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure in Fuzzball that Joey mission, it's 8 women you pick up. No, am I misremembering that? So I guess the capacity of the bus is 8 plus Claude as the driver. And shock, the bus here has landed 2 jumps. Again, I thought it was going to get a score of 0, but the coach came to play. All right, I'm gonna look up here. Fuzzball. Okay, I'm looking at the wiki, and we got to figure out how many women there are. Let's see, a minimum of 4 to pass the mission, and a total of 8. Yeah, and you can fit them all on the coach. That's what we did in one of our attempts in this video series. Right, all right, so here is jump number 3. No chance the bus lucks out again. It probably didn't have any right to score even 1, but it's attempting to outperform. It came out of the animation, it almost drove into the water, but I'm going to give it credit. We and the bus are surviving. I can't believe this. The bus now with a score, sorry, I keep calling it the bus because darn it, that's what it is. The school bus should just be called the school bus. The coach has a score of 3. This is crazy. Yeah, had no idea the coach would perform as well as it is. Okay, most renditions of the coach emit the sound of a low-revving 4-stroke diesel engine. However, San Andreas has a high-revving 2-stroke diesel sound. 5-speed gearbox, rear-wheel drive, assumed to be rear engine as expected from vehicles of its type. Okay, and the bus is now tied for the lead with 4. Are you kidding me? Okay, we're on fire now. We're going to say goodbye to our friend the coach, but nice job. Man, what an upset there. Holy cow. All right, so the tied for the lead with 4 landings successfully, BF injection, and the coach. The bookmakers are in stunned silence. Okay, next up, Diablo Stallion has 0 fixed spawns, but it's quite common in Hepburn Heights. You can spray it, it won't change the colors, you can crush it, and we're going to take it over to the pier. Actually, first I'm going to get lost in the crusher here, but don't worry about this reversing and forwardsing. Felt like in that scene in Austin Powers where he's trying to do a turn in like a golf cart in a narrow hallway. Okay, from the wiki. The Diablo Stallion is a vehicle featured in GTA 3 and Advance and Liberty City Stories. It is known simply as the Diablo in GTA Advance. The Diablo Stallion is essentially a customized stallion used by the Diablo's gang, distinguishable by its black body with painted flames running across the bottom of the sides, an exposed supercharger that's on the hood sticking out of the engine, and a lower ride height. Unlike the regular stallion, which is a convertible, the Diablo Stallion always appears with a hardtop. However, as it also has stiffer suspension and a lower ride height, it is more susceptible to being jostled from driving over small bumps. Okay, prominent appearances in missions. So in the mission Pump Action Pimp, Claude kills 2 Diablo's gang members driving a Diablo Stallion. I didn't think of those 2 folks in the Diablo Stallion in that mission as being gang members. One of them is a pimp, and the other one doesn't look like the Diablos as far as I remember. Maybe one of them is a Diablo. I don't remember. Okay, and then also in the mission Gang Car Roundup, a Diablo Stallion is one of the 3 gang cars required by King Courtney. Okay, and then moving on to the trivia section, the default radio stations for the Stallion in GTA 3 are Game Radio or Head Radio, and then the Leone family members will open fire on the Diablo Stallion if they see it, and they will force the Diablo out of the car. This happens, this is not even in this game, after Sindaco's sabotage. Okay, we're on fire, but we landed it, so I'm going to count that as a 1, not a 0, for the Diablo Stallion. Okay, and then the final vehicle in this video is the Dodo, the only flyable vehicle in the game, and my goodness, it is hard to learn to fly. It has 3 fixed spawns. You cannot pay and spray it, and you cannot crush it, even though it seems pretty light. I thought, again, the crusher generally turned away vehicles because they were too heavy, but the crusher gives that same message about not being able to handle the Dodo. Okay, from an advertisement on the wiki, it is not called the Dodo because it's killed more passengers than any other plane in its size class, though that's a sad fact and a regrettable legacy for this otherwise splendid aircraft. It can't turn, it can barely fly, but it will be able to float if you land it just right. All right, not in this game, but in GTA 5, for example, the Dodo has I don't know, like the skimmer type things on the bottom so that you can land it gently in the water. The Dodo is a small airplane appearing in GTA 3 and San Andreas, and a seaplane appearing in the enhanced version of GTA 5 and GTA Online for returning players. It's manufactured by Mammoth in the HD universe. It's also present in Liberty City Stories, although it does not normally appear in game. In all of its appearances, the Dodo strongly resembles a Cessna 152 or Cessna 150, given the semi-monocoque fuselage. What the heck is that word? The high wing setup and the conventional tricycle landing gear, as well as a two-blade propeller on the nose and a traditional empennage/tail assembly with the corresponding control surfaces. Probably you can tell I am not a pilot in real life. The GTA 3 rendition of the Dodo has short, stubby wings that appear to have been sawed off at the midpoint in order to make it virtually impossible to fly, hence the name. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, but the Dodo it's an extinct bird now, but it's famous for not being able to fly, just like this stupid plane. All right, so the Dodo plane landed its first jump. It's explained in the story that the Dodo was the plane that dropped packages in the mission A Drop in the Ocean, but had since been seized by federal agents and was being stripped as part of a warrant to search the plane. The plane is only available in a white and red livery with the registration code Y-Me369. All right, that's good. Attempt number 2 here. I was despawning traffic just to give the Dodo a fighting chance to have enough speed to take off, but no dice. No dice. There is a variant in this game called the Dead Dodo. I think maybe we'll talk about that another time. The Dodo is featured in a couple of missions, Drop in the Ocean and Grand Theft Aero, and is also in SAM. The Dodo is required for Import-Export Garage. And I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.